Good afternoon from Spain, good afternoon from France, because Dr. José Aranguren is in France. Good morning in US. It's a great pleasure to be here with you, spending this hour with you. For us, it's very nice to have the opportunity to speak a little bit about what we're doing as a company and what kind of products are we launching to the market. So I will do a small introduction about what is Zarc today, what we're doing, what is our strategy, value proposition, and so on. And then I will hand over to Dr. José Aranguren, and he will make a nice lecture about endodontics and how to improve the way that treatments are done today. So starting with Zarc, what's our value proposition? No, we do innovative products. That means that we don't do copycats. All our products are unique, are designed by endodontists for endodontic, like Dr. José Aranguren. He's the main inventor of all our products. And that for us is very important, because what we saw some years ago is that the innovation in the market was driven more by marketing departments or engineers, that they don't know exactly what were the needs that endodontists have. And that's why we thought that it was very important to put the endodontist in the center, and then of course with the engineers and with the marketing departments be able to create the products that they need. We do that with high quality controls and at an affordable price. We're not at a premium price, we're not at a low cost price, we're at a value for money proposition. What's our philosophy as a company? I would say that we are very into conservative endodontists. All our products, even the regular ones, are more or less invasive than other competitors. And of course, we have developed a huge range of products in the minimal invasive and even in the ultra conservative endo. What else? We also like to do balance instruments. That's something very important for us, because again, what we saw some years ago is that in the market, endodontists should have to try or to decide many times between cutting efficiency instruments or very flexible instruments. If you choose cutting efficiency, you don't have flexibility. If you choose flexibility, you don't have cutting efficiency. And here is where Dr. José, with his amazing knowledge about metallurgic, decide to bring some new innovations to the market, making products that were very well balanced with very good cutting efficiency, but also with the flexibility to be performing at a great level in difficult anatomies. As a company, we have been growing Zarc a lot. I mean, every year we're almost growing more than 100% compared to the year before. This 2024, we will be in the same range of growth. So we're having a fantastic success, and we're very happy with that. We are in more than 35 countries. Actually, this slide should be updated because we have 3-4 more countries. But we basically are in US, of course, in Mexico, very popular in Latam, in Europe, in countries like Spain, Portugal, Italy, France, Belgium, UK, also Germany. We're also in Middle East, starting in some countries in Asia. So I think that the development of the company is fantastic, and we are very happy for that. In terms of strategy, we like to think about 3 big pillars. One, it's innovation. As I said, we don't do copycats, we do unique products, but we also do it very fast. I think that's another mark of the company. No, we are very fast at launching innovations. For example, if we were discussing in September with our partners of Avalon in US about a new kind of products, and probably in less than 3-4 months we will be able to launch it to the market. So since the moment that we have an idea and we think that idea is valid, since we launch it to the market, we are very fast, and we do it in a very small period of time, which I think it gives us an edge compared to our competitors. We also think education, it's another great pillar, and for that we invest a lot on OPLs, QOLs. We have a wide network of them all over the world. We have more than 70 that are key doctors in their different countries. We work with more than 150 universities, and we do more than 500 courses along our distributors around the year. And the third pillar is science. I mean, we need to have scientific support to all our products, meaning that our products are not good because we say are good, but they are good because we have scientific research and scientific literature that support what we are saying that our products can do. We have this year new additions to the team that I think strengthen much more the team that we had. One is Professor Shannon Patel, which is one of the, I would say, top 5, top 10 endodontists in the world, super famous, and he also has a very strong background in science, so he's helping a lot in developing new products, but also supporting these products through scientific studies. And the other one is Daniel Knobs, who has been working for more than 30 years, around 30 years in the industry, in Dentsply as a head of education, and he has a lot of contacts in QOLs, universities, societies, congress, and stakeholders in the whole world. So that's helping us a lot to make new contacts and to open new opportunities with QOLs, universities, and new markets. In terms of portfolio, we have 5 categories, 5 families. We have instrumentation, we have the GPs and the paper points, we have the bioceramics, where we have a strong partnership with Avalon Biomed, we have the motors, where we have private label with ATEETH, and we have the accessories. In terms of instrumentation, we have mainly 4 families. The first one is the BlueShaper PRO, which is a rotary system where we have 2 heat treatments in one file. That's the dual wire technology, where Dr. Jose Aranguren later will speak much more about it and in detail, because it's a breakthrough innovation that we have launched to the market and that we have a patent already. That's more a regular system. Then we have our minimal invasive system, which is SlimShaper PRO, with also 2 heat treatments in one file. Then we have Excalibur, which is the reciprocating system for these doctors that prefer the reciprocation motion. And then we have the apical shaper with our rotary finish. It's a rotary finishing system that can allow to work in the apical area without enlarging the canal. But Jose will go further in detail in all these products. And then in terms of the rest of the families, we have gutta-percas and paper points for all the systems that we have. We have the full portfolio of Avalon Biomed. Now we will add also the NeoSEALER EZFlo, where we are waiting for the registration for Europe. We have a wide range also of motors and accessories. In terms of launches, our 2 latest launches have been SlimShaper PRO that we launched in Los Angeles in 2024 in the AA meeting, and then the Z-Glider Evo that we launched last November, and that both of them are having a huge success, and we are very happy about them. I will put you the video that we did for the launch in LA. I hope that you can hear it, which explains a little bit about what's the system and how it works and what are the benefits. Then quality control, no? As I was saying, this is something very important for us. What we did, it's Dr. Jose Aranguren has a lot of knowledge about what are the quality control standards in the market and of our competitors, and we have decided to raise this bar further, and we have introduced these quality control measures that you can see in the slide. We change the cutting blades are resharpened every 200 files and change every 12 resharpening times. We do an evaluation of 10 files of the diameters and tapers every 200 files, and if they are okay, fine. If not, the last 200 are discarded. And every 500 files, a cycle fatigue and torsion test is performed to evaluate that we know that the fracture occurs where it should occur. And we know, and we are very comfortable with these quality control measures because we know that they are in the top level of the standards in the market today. In terms of innovation, as I was saying before, we are unique, we are very fast, and since the moment that we get an idea, we put all the ideas that we have in the innovation pipeline. We know that we will have to invest a lot of money and a lot of time in this, in working in these ideas, and only probably, that's what science said, only 16% of them will have success, and many of them will not see the market. But it's something that we have done since our inception. And with that, we have been able to launch the dual wire technology, which is basically 2 heat treatments in one file, which is something unique, and that it's patented by Zarc. And we have in our innovation pipeline, even though we have been able to launch in April SlimShaper PRO, we have launched the Z-Glider Evo in November. We will have all these projects that will see the light sooner than later. So that means that we are a very innovative company that has a lot of ideas and a lot of new projects that will make us excel in terms of portfolio. And latest, I would like to share with you how we see the market. We see that in terms of price, there are some companies that have premium price and then they have some kind of innovation, or they have good innovation. Some others have good price, but they don't offer a lot of innovation to the market. And some others, they offer low price, very low price, but with no innovation. We think that here in this green area, we have a big opportunity in the market, and that's where we are trying to position Zarc as an innovative company and at a value for money proposition. And we think that here we have a great opportunity to break the market as we are doing during the last years. So thank you very much. That's all from my side. I just want to give you a nutshell about what's Zarc today, and I will hand over to Dr. Jose Aranguren and his great lecture. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Daniel. We'll go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Jose. I think you're still on mute, Dr. Jose. We can see your screen, but I can't hear you yet.
Okay, sorry.
All right, we're good to go now. You're fine.
Yeah. Let's do it again. Sorry. Thank you for the introduction. I'm Jose Aranguren from Madrid, Spain. I'm also the chairman in endodontics in Rey Juan Carlos University. And well, I'm also a clinician. I'm endodontist. I also work for Avalon and Zarc to try to develop better instruments for our practice. I really believe that we are the specialist, and we know what we need to do our treatments in a better way. We need our needs. We think we know today that we have to preserve pericervical dentin. We need more flexible instruments, but at the same time with high catheter efficiency. So we are working in this. We are working in trying to have better instruments for our practice, and this is what I'm going to try to show you. First, I'm going to talk about shaping, of course, but we have two kind of shapings: the mechanical shapings that we perform with our files, and the chemical shaping that we produce with our irrigation. No? So we all know that irrigation is really important, and we use the irrigation to do a better cleaning in our canal. We know with the files we are going to reach only 65% of the anatomy. And we need the irrigation to go to the difficult areas and to do a 3D cleaning in our procedures. That's why we are now enhancing our cleaning with activation, sonic, ultrasonic devices like gentle wave or lasers in Europe, that we try to do a better cleaning inside of the canal to perform also a better 3D obturation. And that's what are we doing. This is the difficult part. We are facing these difficult cases with these difficult anatomies, and with the files we are going to be able to go just to the main canal, and all the irregularities and difficult areas we are going to be able to clean just with the irrigation. We all know this. We know that to produce these nice obturations, the most important thing is to clean. Because if we don't clean, if we don't eliminate the smear layer, the rest of the pulp, we are not going to be able to fill with our obturation. So we all know this, and nowadays our root canals look more like the micro-CT we saw before. This is a lower molar with an apical lesion, and our cases nowadays are more similar to the micro-CTs we were looking at a few moments ago. No, we are cleaning in a better way. We are doing better 3D shaping, mechanical and chemical. And of course, now with the bioceramic sealers, we are able to go deeper in the canal. And if we clean properly, the bioceramic sealer is going to be able to fill all difficult areas. We can see here in this slide that the bioceramic sealer is here and was not able to go in here. Why? Because there was some material here. That's why we have to invest time in the cleaning, because if we don't clean, we are not going to fill. So it's important the obturation, but before we have to clean properly all the anatomy. With the files, the main canal, and these irregularities, we are going to be able to do it with a good irrigation. Also another slides explaining exactly the same. This 3D obturation, because we did a good 3D cleaning before, and we were able to do a 3D obturation afterwards. Another case with lateral canals. Always people is asking, which is the sealer? Okay, the sealer is important, but if you don't clean first, the sealer is not going to fill all that anatomy. No? Another lower molar, difficult anatomies that we are able to clean because we did a good cleaning before. Also this premolar with these difficult anatomies that we were able to do the obturation and the healing 1 year later. Also, in this case, we can see anastomosis between the two mesial canals. Here we are going to do the irrigation, and while we are doing the irrigation, in this case, we can see that we are doing the irrigation in one of the mesials and doing suction in the other. That means that both canals are connected. As we can see in the X-ray, all this connection, we are not going to be able to clean it with the files. We are going to be able to clean it with the irrigation. In this case, with ultrasonic, with sonic activation, we are going to be able to do a better cleaning and afterwards a good filling. And the healing 5 months later. but it's important that in the last years we have new materials, and with these new materials we can perform to do the root canal treatment in a better way. Now we can be less invasive, but at the same time to do a 3D cleaning and 3D obturation that is the key in our root canal treatments. This is a root canal treatment I did in 2010, and this is a root canal treatment 3 years ago. You can see the difference, no? Now, of course, we are using smaller files with less taper, of course, but also our way of working, our way of shaping is completely different. Now we spend less time with the files inside of the canal, and we reduce the time we are working with the files inside of the canal. Also, we don't brush with the files against the canal walls as we were doing in 2010. And now our root canals, we clean in a similar way, and we preserve pericervical dentin that we are all aware that is the key if we don't want to have vertical fractures. This also 2 root canal treatments that I performed in a patient, one in 2011 and the other one in 2022, and you can see the evolution. I always explain to my students, if we do the things in the same way we are going to do it in 10 years, means that we are doing something wrong. We have to do an evolution. Of course, we have to do it with the base in the literature. We have to review the articles. We have to review how is the literature in this moment, and to do an evolution. Because if we do the things in the same way, we are not going to work properly. We have to do an evolution, and I think we all are doing this in our practices. No? This is a case of a colleague, Craig Berry from the States, doing also a minimal invasive shaping. He's working with gentle wave in this case, and he is allowed to do a small mechanical shaping, in this case with the first instrument of SlimShaper, and after that to do a good cleaning with the gentle wave and to do a 3D obturation with bioceramic sealer and single coat technique. No, I'm completely sure that today we can be minimal invasive in 2 different ways. The first one is, of course, using really small files and devices like gentle wave or lasers. And the other way is to use minimal invasive files, as I'm going to show you today. No, now I'm changing a little bit in my practice because I'm introducing also the laser, but I also work with files because today I feel with the instruments I'm going to show you today, we can be more conservative, but at the same time to do a really good 3D cleaning in our canal anatomy, and that's what I'm going to present today. Okay, this is a case from a good friend, Michael Rivera. He used the Z-Glider Evo that I'm going to show you later, and using also later the gentle wave, he performed a good cleaning and a 3D obturation with bioceramic sealer in this case. This is a case I did just with files. In this case, finishing in a 30 in the apical size. It doesn't look to be a 30, but maintaining a really small access in the coronal part, preserving a lot of pericervical dentin. No. Another cases with low tapers, or this case, for example, also a 30 apical diameter, but we save the canal in a really minimal invasive way, preserving a lot of dentin in the coronal part and doing a really nice 3D obturation. I really believe this is the way. I know that most of you are working today in this way, and I think it's the best is the best treatment we can give to our patients, because we are going to maintain healthy tooth. And if in the future the patient needs a retreatment or whatever, we are going to find a tooth that is completely similar as it was at the beginning. No, like the treatments we were doing for, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, that we were shaping too much in the coronal part, and we were destroying too much pericervical dentin. No? We have to think that our instruments, our files, are like scalpers. No, why we use scalpers only once? Because the scalper lose cutting efficiency. And with the files, we are going to have the same problem with all the brands, with all the files in the market. And this is something that is important. No, this is for example a Pro Taper Gold from Dentsply. This is an F2, completely new. We can see the edge of the file is perfect. This file is going to cut amazing, really, really, really nice. But after one treatment, look the edge. Now it's not completely aligned. It's like a row now, okay? But I think it's going to cut similar as in the first case. But look after two cases, how is the edge? The edge, sorry, is completely flat. And this file is going to cut completely different as it was cutting at the beginning. This is important because when we use an instrument, if we need a good performance of the instrument inside of the canal, we need a complete new instrument. That's why when I'm going to do always a difficult case, a molar is always a difficult case, I always use new instruments, new files. We have to difference between the resistance of the files to fracture. Now, most of the brands with the new alloys, with the martensitic files, the resistant uses of the files is really, really, really big. Maybe to have a fracture, we have to use a file maybe in 5-6 molars. That is one point, but the most important point is how efficient is the file working in the canal. Maybe the first time the file is going to be really efficient. Second time probably is going to be efficient, but the third time the file is going to lose a lot of cutting efficiency. So we have to check this. If we want to use files that are going to work really nicely, smooth inside of the canal, we need to use new files in most of the cases. Of course, if we are going to do a really easy case, a straight canal and central incisor, this is not a big issue. But if we are going to do a difficult case, always molars are difficult cases, we need good files, new files to have a really nice performance inside of the canal. We are all aware that to preserve pericervical dentin is really important, and we are all working in this way. We all know that these kind of instruments, the orifice openers that we were using, I was using the SX from Dentsply for so many years, and I thought in that moment it was a fantastic instrument. But today I think we don't need orifice openers. We don't need to create an straight line access, because today we are working with complete different instruments. Now we don't need to shape the canal as much as we were doing a long time ago. This is a case from Luke Berman from the States, and you can see that a few years ago it was more normal to shape the canals with big tapers and in this way. Also, this case, maybe this is the typical case we all have in our practice, performed with Pro Taper, with a nice shape, maybe too much taper in this coronal or pericervical area, that after few years come to the office like this. We all have cases like this, and in that time we were thinking why it happens. The root canal is almost perfect. Probably the crown is important, the occlusion is important, but in my opinion, we were shaping too much the coronal area. We were doing big tapers. We were doing big coronal enlargement that I think it was one of the main reasons to have these kind of fractures, no? Or cases like this, or this case. Maybe this case is completely clean, but the tooth is absolutely destroyed, no? This is a failure I had. This is a case I did a few years ago. This is a big resorption. This is the convene. It was a really nice case, so I was excited when I was going to do it, but I didn't realize of something important, no? Something important, that the canal wall in this area was thick, okay, wide, but in this area the canal wall was really thin, okay, and this is a big problem because the thinner is the canal wall, the more options we have to have a fracture. I did the case in a first appointment with calcium hydroxide. Second appointment, I worked to working length. I did the vertical compaction. I create here an obturation with bioceramic with neopathy in this area. And after that, I did the obturation with an injection of gutta percha for the coronal part. And everything went perfect for so many years. I did the case in 2018. The recall 2019, and in 2023, the patient came with an apical lesion and with a fistula. I thought at the beginning that maybe it was a problem with the communication in the perforation in this area, but when I did the apical surgery, I realized of something. It was a fracture here. And where was the fracture? In the thick part, in the wide part, or in the thinner part? In the thinner part. The thinner is the canal wall, the more options we have to have a vertical fracture. That's why now I work also in the university. I am the chairman of endodontics there, and now we change completely how we teach root canals to the students. Now we don't talk about compensatory failing. The compensatory failing was something we were teaching to our students to create a straight line access to the canal to have a better performance of the files inside of the canal in the apical part. This was important a few years ago because we were using standard nickel titanium files that were quite stiff, and the only way to have a good performance of the instrument inside of the canal was to create a straight line access. Now we are working in a different way. We are not doing this straight line access. Now we want to maintain the original anatomy or the original entrance of the canal, because we don't need to create that in straight line access, because our files today are completely different to the files we were using a few years ago. Now the files are martensitic, are more flexible, are smaller, and we don't need to create that straight line access and destroy too much pericervical dentin. And this is changing completely the way of working in our office. This is the real canal. This is the straight line access, and all that red area is the area we are going to destroy this pericervical dentin, and we are going to damage healthy dentin, and we are going to have more options in the future to have a vertical fracture because of that. Now we are using completely different instruments, more flexible, smaller, with a really nice performance, even if we don't create a straight line access. So we have to change our way of working. We shouldn't work in the same way we were working a few years ago with another materials. Now we have another materials, and the way of shaping might be completely different. Now our cases are with less taper, and as you can see here. And now let's talk a little bit about the new heat treatments. No, this is a study I did in 2016. In that moment, I was working for Dentsply, doing some studies and researchers. This is the old design of wave 1 in different heat treatments, N-wire, light gold, gold, pink, and blue. And when I did this study, I realized that when we move with the arrow, the files in the right side are more flexible. We are going to have better adaptation in the canal. We are going to decrease the psychophatic stress. But of course, not everything is perfect. We are going to lose caten efficiency. And for so many years, we were working with instruments or with high caten efficiency, but not really flexible, or really flexible, but with no high caten efficiency. Okay, and that's why we decide to create BlueShaper in 2020, no? Mixing two heat treatments in the same instrument. More austenitic, the first instrument, to increase the caten efficiency of the file, and the rest of the files that are going to increase the size of the instrument, we need more martensitic behavior. So we are going to have a blue heat treatment with more that is more martensitic, to have more flexibility and more psychophatic resistant, because we don't need that much caten efficiency as we need with the first instrument of the system. Later, we create also a SlimShaper, the minimal invasive system, with a gold heat treatment, the first instrument, pink the second, and blue the third. When the file is increasing the size, is decreasing the stiffness because the file is more martensitic, no? And also we are increasing the psychophatic resistance, that always is more important when the size of the file is bigger, no? We are going to review just really fast the history of the instruments. In 1991 was the first generation of rotary files with a profile. 2001, the second generation with ProTaper, maybe the best instrument in the history. Now, I believe it's not the best, but was the best for so many years, and probably is the best instrument in the history for the number of years that was the number one in the market. 2007, third generation. This was the first moment when some brands start to do a heat treatment of the files at the beginning, before creating the files. Afterwards, it was after creating the files. So it was before manufacturing the files. And now the heat treatment should normally is after the manufacturing process, is the last part of the manufacturing process. Okay, in 2010, the fourth generation with the reciprocating instruments. In 2016 was an important moment, was the fifth generation with the introduction of smaller files with smaller tapers. From that moment, we realized that we have to preserve peripheral dentin to avoid vertical fractures. In 2020, Avalon and Zarc launched the sixth generation, mixing two alloys in the same instrument with BlueShaper, and later with SlimShaper. Now other brands like Dentsply, they have also ProTaper Ultimate, also with different heat treatments in the same system. And also Edge Endo has a system really similar to BlueShaper, also mixing two alloys in the same instrument. No, so Avalon and Zarc were the first, but now there are others doing the same. That's why we have to find something even better, or that produce a better performance of the instruments. And in this case was the dual wire. Dual wire technology means to mix two heat treatments in the same instrument. We can see here a more austenitic heat treatment at the tip to increase caten efficiency and penetration, and the rest of the instrument more martensitic to keep the flexibility and to increase the psychophatic resistance in the big portion, in the big part of the instrument that is where we need it. So with this, we can have everything in the same instrument. We can have more caten efficiency, keeping the same flexibility and cycle fatigue resistant. I think this is a big improvement. This is the BlueShaper, 3 millimeters more austenitic in gold heat treatment, in gold alloy, and the rest of the instrument, this is the first instrument in pink alloy, no? And the rest of the instruments in blue alloy, and the 3 first millimeters in gold alloy to increase the cutting efficiency and the penetration in the canal. Also, the SlimShaper, the minimal invasive system, comes also with this dual wire technology, end wire at the tip, gold at the tip, gold at the tip, and the rest of the instrument is gold here, pink here, and blue here. So with this, we have a really balanced system. We have cutting efficiency, we have flexibility, we have cycle fatigue resistant. So we have everything in one system. This is the tip of the first instrument of Slim, end wire and gold alloy. In this case, gold alloy at the tip and pink, and gold alloy at the tip and blue in the rest of the instrument. And these are cases we can perform with these instruments. To prove this improvement of cutting efficiency, I went to Rio de Janeiro with Siqueira because they have a nice device to test the cutting efficiency of the instruments. So I went there, okay, 2 years ago, and this is Victor Talarico. This is the person in charge in his team to develop all the studies with files and all metallurgical studies, no? The first thing, we were looking at the surface of the files to check difference between the 2 heat treatments area or 1 heat treatment area. And we saw the 1 heat treatment area is normal. It's like all the files. We can see here in the scanning electronic microscope. And the 2 heat treatments area, we can see some dimples, holes here. These holes are produced for the laser treatment. These files have a first heat treatment. After that, they have a laser treatment of the tip. And after that, they have a second heat treatment of the tip. Okay, so this is the manufacturing process of these instruments. And the cutting efficiency, we tested and we saw that with the dual wire technology, there is 20% more cutting efficiency. So we increased 20% cutting efficiency just with the dual wire technology, with the gold tip in this case, no? In the torsional stress, we did this study because some people was worried that maybe in the transition in the area between the 2 heat treatments, probably they were thinking there is a weak area. So we did a torsional test just to check if there is a weak area in the 3rd millimeter. So we did the torsional test. We blocked the 1st millimeter of the file, okay, and we were producing a torsional stress till the fracture of the file. We were checking first if we are going to have more torsional resistance with the dual wire technology first, and the second thing is just to check if we are going to have any fracture in the 3rd millimeter, just in the point where the 2 heat treatments are joined, no? The result is that all the fractures were in the 1st millimeter, as all the studies, torsional studies, we can see in the literature. We didn't have any fracture in the 3rd millimeter, so there is not a weak area in that portion. And the other important thing is that with the dual wire technology, there is 28% increase resistant to the torsional stress. So we have 20% more cutting efficiency and 28% more torsional resistant. So it's a big improvement to have the Pro version. The other thing is the cycle fatigue test, that we didn't find any difference between the 2 different versions, the BlueShaper and the BlueShaper Pro, the Pro version. Proof of value. Well, in the last year, we have at least 5 different articles. You are going to have available all these articles with the Avalon team. If you want these articles, they are going to provide you these articles. These are the articles in the last year. There are also another 8 or 10 articles that if you need them, the Avalon team is going to provide you with all this material. And this is one of the last articles. It's really nice. We did a psychic fatigue test with more than 20 systems in the market. And the best performance, the best results only in psychic fatigue stress. It doesn't mean anything, only that the file is resistant in psychic fatigue stress. We have 3 different groups. The first group is the green one, is the best performance. That was for Excalibur, also SlimShaper and BlueShaper, and also another systems in the market, Trunatomy, Vortex, HighFlex, others. Intermediate group with a normal performance, and the worst performance, the red group, that probably are the most stiffer files. No? So all the files of Avalon and Zarc, the performance is really nice in psychic fatigue test. This is the BlueShaper PRO. This is the gold tip, 3 millimeters long, that increase the penetration of the file and also the cutting efficiency. The sizes, the tapers, and everything is exactly the same. BlueShaper PRO is a system similar to Vortex, probably, or to ProTaper. I mean, it's an active system with 6% taper, the finishing file. So we are going to perform a standard shapings, no, with this kind of system. SlimShaper, this is the system I use mostly. I love it. With this system, we are going to perform smaller shapings. The first file is a 2% at the tip, 6% in the big part, and the 2 other files is a 4%, okay, constant taper till the 3 last millimeters that decrease the taper to 3%, and also in the 25. Okay. Now we are working in the future. Probably this is not sure yet, but probably for the AAE Congress in Boston, we are going to be able to have a new instrument, probably called NeoSEALER, even smaller than a SlimShaper, that perform smaller shapings. We'll see. It's a really nice system. We are working with it now. And well, we will see, but probably for the AAE, you will find it, and you are going to be in love with it for sure. This is the SlimShaper, okay? And we can see here, for example, 2 different cases with BlueShaper, normal shaping, and SlimShaper, more minimal invasive shaping. No? Something we are used is that most of the brands force us to finish the cases in a 25, and indeed this is okay for many cases, but in some cases with big contamination, with a big amount of bacteria in the canal, we need to clean a little bit more. If we review a little bit the literature, we know that if we clean more or we increase the apical size of our instruments, we are going to leave less areas without cleaning. No, if we increase to a 40 in the apical size, we are going to leave without cleaning only 60% of the canal. If we shape up to a 30, we are going to leave 30% of areas without cleaning. In this study from Saini, it proves that if we shape up to a 40, we are going to have more success in our treatments because we are going to do a better cleaning. The problem was, for so many years, we had this kind of instruments that if we were trying to shape up to a 40 in the apical size, we were shaping also to a 40 in the middle part and coronal part of the canal. And this was a big problem, and this was why we were not shaping all the canals that much. But the good thing is today we have instruments like this one. This apical shaper is an instrument that is really, really thin. It's only a 3% taper that is going to work only in the apical part. Look here, this is a 40. it doesn't look to be a 40 in the right side, but look the coronal part. We can prepare a minimal invasive shaping, doing a nice cleaning up to a 40 if we need it. It doesn't mean that we have to do it always, but if we have a big apical lesion, a big amount of bacteria, and we want to clean more, or it's a retreatment, maybe we can shape the apical size, and we are still doing a minimal invasive shaping, no? And this is how I work today in my office. I also clean with laser, but I still believe that we can perform a minimal invasive shaping with files using this kind of instruments. It's a 30, 35, 40, and 50, 3% taper. With these files, we are going to work only in the apical part, and we are going to maintain the coronal part small. Okay. Well, we don't have too much time, so I will jump this video, and we will have time to see the rest of the lecture. This is an article we published the last year in 2023 in Journal of Endodontics, proving this, that today we can shape in a minimal invasive way, doing a similar cleaning as we were doing before with the standard systems. Here in this study, we compare the standard system, for example, Pro Taper Gold, okay, that is maybe the gold standard, with SlimShaper and apical shaper, no? So doing a minimal invasive shaping. And there is not difference in the cleaning, no difference between the groups in the cleaning between a standard system and a minimal invasive system. So no difference in the cleaning, and look in the dentin reduction, almost the half. With a minimal invasive system, today we can clean similar, more with devices, as we know, like gentle wave or lasers, and at the same time doing the half dentin reduction. So same cleaning and with the half dentin reduction. So this is really nice, and this is how I feel we should shape the canals today, in a minimal invasive way, because today with the materials we have today, we can do a really nice cleaning, no? We can check this article from Carlos Bóveda and Anil Kisen, proving that we have to try not to destroy more than 10% of the dentin at the pericervical area, no? And with a minimal invasive system, we can do it in that way, no? These are different cases, well, nothing important. And this is another thing I want to tell you. This is the new glider that was launched to the market 1 month ago. It's the Z-Glider Evo. I was not using glider for so many years because I was not confident with any glider. The problems of the gliders are that the gliders are really weak and really easy to break. The good thing of this instrument is an instrument that is really efficient, is really easy to go to working length, even when the 8K file, manual file, gets difficult to go deeper in the canal. With this glider, we can go almost directly to the apical part. And the most important thing is that it's almost impossible to break. So it's amazing to have an instrument that we can use it. We can create a good glide path easily to working length, and it's really efficient and really difficult to break. After we use this glider, almost the root canal is done, because the most difficult part, that is to negotiate to go to working length, is already done. So I think this instrument is fantastic. In my opinion, if you have ever used it, you know that what I'm saying is completely true. But if you didn't use it yet, please try it, and I promise you are going to love it. After you start using it, it's addictive, because even if you don't use gliders, you are going to use it, because the root canal gets easier after using it. You use the glider, now the root canal is easy, and now I can finish my case. I do it with SlimShaper. Other people do it with Pro Taper, with BlueShaper, whatever. But after using it, the root canal changed to be really, really easy. Okay. And the good thing, I use SlimShaper. The first file is also a 15, but it's a variable taper from 2% to 6%. Using this glider first, I can work less with that first SlimShaper, and I can decrease my shaping as I'm going to show you later. This is the instrument. This is what I was telling you. With using the SlimShaper with this glider first, we can decrease our shapings much more. It's a black 90 nickel titanium instrument. It's a 15 apical diameter, 3% constant taper, triple helix cross section like a flat mountain, control memory, so we can prevent the file to have a better insertion in difficult cases, and total security. It's really difficult to break. You are going to love it. This is the blister. You have to use it in 500 RPM and 3 Newton torque. And these are some cases. These are my cases. Also, this one, you can see we can decrease the shaping a lot. And this is the case of a colleague, Jose Valverde. And this is the same case I showed you before from Michael Rivera. Really, really nice, that distal root. Well, you have also available really small gutta percha cones. If you want to join these minimal invasive shapings with bioceramic sealer and with a small cone, we can use the cones in two different ways. The first way is how I use it, is doing a good cone fit and a good adaptation of the cone in the apical third. And the other thing is to use the cone like a core to push the bioceramic sealer inside of the canal. Depending your shaping, you can do it in different ways. I believe if it's a vital case, we can do it using the cone like a core. But if we are going to do a necrotic case with apical lesion, I feel more comfortable using my apical shapers and cleaning that apical area a little bit more. But we give the materials to work in different ways, and this is something nice because we can our protocols and our way of working is not always the same, no? The cleaning is important, and with these minimal invasive shapings, we recommend plastic needles that we are going to go to working length easier. We have some cases with metal needles. It's sometimes difficult to go in the curve, mainly with low tapers. But when we have a plastic needle, you can see with a plastic needle, we can go easily deep in the canal where the metal needle is blocked or stuck in the middle part of the curve. So that's why for these minimal invasive shapings, we recommend plastic needles. Furthermore, to use systems like gentle wave or lasers to enhance the irrigation or the penetration of the irrigation. Bioceramic sealers, I do all my cases with my bioceramic sealers. I was using for almost 3 years the NeoSEALER EZFlo. I'm in love. My two main techniques are one vertical compaction and single cone technique with bioceramic. When the canal is a large canal, is a C-shaped canal, I do one vertical compaction. When I have a really narrow canal, narrow space, round canal, I do a single cone technique with bioceramic. The bioceramic I use, NeoSEALER EZFlo, is a pre-mixed. That's why if we review the literature, we have to remove the smear layer before the obturation, because we are going to use the moisture of the tubules for the setting of our bioceramic material. Another important thing is to use the still water before the obturation to remove all the EDTA and sodium hypochlorite from the canal. And this is the suggestion in the literature if we are going to use a bioceramic sealer. The key points in BC sealers, in my opinion, are remove a smear layer, mainly if we are going to use a pre-mixed one like NeoSEALER EZFlo, clean with still water before obturation, and dry the canal. Of course, it allows moisture, but we need to have the canal almost dry. With the moisture of the tubules is more than enough. This is a nice video that explains what I was telling in the beginning. No, this is the canal wall. All this is the smear layer. Now we are going to do the irrigation with sodium hypochlorite. It's not possible to go inside of the anatomies because the smear layer is blocking everything. To remove it, we use the EDTA, 1 minute maximum for not creating too much erosion in the canal walls. After using it, we are going to be able to eliminate all the smear layer from the canal walls. And now, with the canal walls completely clean, we are going to be able to clean in a better way, in a 3D way. And as we are going to clean better, we are going to be able to feel better also with our obturation technique. No? This is a video, this is a picture, but this is the reality. This is a canal wall, these are the tubules, and this big tubule is not a tubule, it's a lateral canal. If we clean it, we are going to be able to feel it, as I told you at the beginning of my lecture. These are cases with NeoSEALER EZFlo. This was my first case with NeoSEALER EZFlo. I was so excited. I inject the sealer in the canal, and because I was so excited, I create an overfilling. Okay, it's not a problem, but of course, from the aesthetic point of view, is not the best. Is not the best thing. We can see the apical lesion here. Okay, and after 1 year, we can see the healing, the complete healing, fantastic, and also the material that is complete stable inside of the canal and also outside of the canal. Even the material that went into the fistula is still there. So it's a material really, really stable. Of course, now we do the injection of the sealer in a different way, only to the middle part of the canal. First, I do the confit. After that, I inject the sealer to the middle part of the canal. And after that, I place the cone to working length. And when I place the cone to the working length, I'm going to push the sealer from the middle part of the canal to the apical part without having any option to have any overfilling or overextraction. This is another case. This is a retreatment with a perforation. They send me the case like this. I could go bypass the perforation, and I went into the real canal. And this is the case. Look the apical lesion that was huge. In this case, I did all the obturation with NeoSEALER EZFlo and gutta-percha cones. Okay, I adjust here the sealer and the gutta-percha cone here and the real canal, and I did the case in that way. Look the apical lesions, and look 1 year later, look the healing, the amazing healing, and even the perforation that was here is still perfect with all the sealer that we did the obturation. So it's an amazing material that I recommend you to use it. But what I told you, we have to clean if we want to fill. If we don't clean, the material is not going to be able to go in. So that's why it's really important, the cleaning. No, that's why in the first part of my lecture, I start talking about the irrigation. Today, in 2009, 3% of the endodontists were using single cone technique with bioceramic. In 2020, 60%. Today, probably in 2024, maybe 60% of the practitioners are doing the root canals with single cone technique and with bioceramic. Why? Because it's more predictable, it's easier technique, really easy, and works fantastic. No, works amazing. This is my protocol. I use sodium hypochlorite during all my procedure. I do the Van der Luis protocol with ultrasonic. Now I do this protocol with laser instead with ultrasonic. Three cycles of activation, then 1 minute with EDTA, 1 minute more with one more cleaning or irrigation with sodium hypochlorite, and after that, the still water before the obturation. I dry the canal and I do the obturation. And just to talk a little bit about the new material, the EZFlo, NeoSEALER EZFlo, is the more flow version that works fantastic. In my opinion, in my feeling is the best thing of the best improvement is the tip. because the tip is really, really nice and goes in every canal, even if it's really small, and we can go really easy. And the good thing, as it's a 29 gauge, it's difficult to do an overfilling because we can't do a big pressure when we inject the sealer in the canal. So it's more flow, but it's more difficult to do an overfilling as we were used with the rest of the bioceramics, the NeoSEALER EZFlo and the BC sealer. No, with this one, it's really difficult to do an overfilling. This is the flow. The flowability of the material is really flow. This is an artificial tooth, and we can see how it goes in all the anatomy, even with a mesial canal. Look here, how flow is the material. We can go even deeper with the needle, but in this case, we went only to the middle part of the canal to show the flowability of the sealer. And look how we feel the canal is fantastic, no? Well, it comes with a Navi tip that is a big improvement. It's more ergonomic. It's going to be easier to inject in all the cases. It comes with more percentage of bioactive cement. So this is nice. The more bioactive cement, the better for our sealer and comparing with others competitors. And this is the tip, is the Ultra Den 1 Navi tip. It's a really nice one. It's also possible to use it with heat. Even if we heat it, it doesn't change the consistency. So here you have a QR code if you want to see the videos explaining the consistency of the sealer. And this is a case. You can see how is the sealer. You can see the radio opacity here of the sealer, and the rest is the obturation material. And it's a really, really nice material when you want to use it in really narrow cases or in difficult anatomies, no? This is another case also that I showed you before. And these are cases we can perform today with this idea, with this philosophy, minimal invasive shaping. Look, in this case, look to be small, but it's a 30 in the apical part. So we can clean and at the same time to be minimal invasive. And another case, this is a 40 in the apical part. It doesn't look to be a 40 because it's a really thin canal. And this is the case I showed you before. Thank you for everything. This is the team, Avalon team. Thank you to all of them. They are doing an amazing work. You have their contact here if you need them to visit you or wherever to try the products. I push you to push. I push you to try all the products, but mainly please try the Z-Glider Evo, that you are going to love it. It's going to be addictive. I told you. Okay, thank you. I
Awesome.
don't know
Thank
if
you
you have
so
any
much.
questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jose. Yes. Does anybody have any questions that they want to ask before we jump off, while we still have anybody? We have one question here. Let me pull it up. Are you noticing any changes as far as stress changes in the metallurgy for the SlimShapers versus the SlimShaper Pros?
Well, indeed, it's not a new file. It's a file similar to the previous one because the design, the sizes, the tapers is the same. But the difference is that the files are more efficient. Keeping the same flexibility, if you use it, you are going to feel that the file progress easier inside of the canal. That's the only thing. Also, if we are going to do, for example, calcified canal, we can use more the tip of the file because it's a little bit stiffer. So we are going to have also a better penetration in cases that the canal is narrow at the beginning. Well, it's not a huge change, but it's an improvement because we are having like 20% more cutting efficiency. I think it's not a big change, but the files are more efficient now compared with the old design. No?
Perfect. We have another question from Mark Sullivan. How are you obturating cases in close proximity to the IAN to minimize risk of extrusion?
Okay, to reduce the extrusion means of the sealer or of a smear layer or pulp or whatever. Well, in this case, now I work in my cases mostly, and I finish my cases in a 25. But when I feel I want to clean more because I think there are a big amount of bacteria or big contamination, I clean the cases, finishing the case in a 30 or in a 35. No. I do a better cleaning. Now I'm working with laser to try to clean the canals in a better way. Of course, I use the laser. I use the sweeps mode. I use the Photona. I use it mainly in normal canals. If I feel the canal is open or with a large apical foramen, I prefer not to use it, and to irrigate or to clean the canal in a better way, maybe with ultrasonic activation or with a normal way of activation. No? This is how I work today.
And are you using a bioceramic sealer in all of your cases?
Okay, yes, I use bioceramic sealer in all my cases. There is only one important point that we have to take care. That is when we have an acid environment. If we have an acid canal, we have to clean the canal properly. I use calcium hydroxide in those cases to change the pH from acid to alkaline. And in a second appointment, I do the root canal treatment. But most of my cases, maybe 90% of the cases, I can do the obturation in the same appointment. I do all the cases with bioceramic sealer, working in one compaction, one vertical compaction. Sorry, in cases that the canal is big, is large, like a distal canal in a lower molar, and small canals that before I was doing the obturation with Gutacor or Thermafil or something like that. Now those difficult cases, I do it with single cone technique and bioceramic sealer. We have to take care of the pH of the canal. This is important, of course, but I think it's also important for resin sealers. And as soon as we do it, we can control the pH. We are also working in this moment in Zarc in a device to test the pH of the canal before the obturation. That I think is going to be something nice, because sometimes is our feeling that the canal is okay, is clean enough to do the obturation, but maybe we need a measure to be sure that we have the canal completely clean before the obturation. We are working in that. There are some things now in the not in the market, but in some studies, and we are working in that. It's an idea for the future. We are working in that.
Perfect. And we have one more from Dr. Chen. He uses our SlimShaper in a cordless endo motor with an integrated apex locator. He notices he can get apex readings with the ZS1 file, but not consistently with the ZS2 and ZS3. Have we had this experience or heard of other people with this experience? And we have changed the handles.
Yeah, the handles. That's why now the handles of the SlimShaper Pro comes with a silver handle, because now the conductivity is completely stable in all the instruments.